Oh, good morning, everyone. We're here today to talk about the links between climate change, productivity, and the government's ongoing determination to not release the climate risk assessment. Climate change will have enormous impacts on the Australian economy in coming decades. Climate change won't just drive up the cost of food and insurance. As we can see in Adelaide right now, it's destroying the tourism industry. As we can see in far north Queensland, it's making parts of Australia uninhabitable. Yet, despite the clear evidence of the impact of climate change on the economy today, the government refuses to release the climate risk assessment ahead of the upcoming economic and productivity roundtable. Can anyone imagine if the government refused to release the Productivity Commission's modelling about tax on the economy ahead of the roundtable, yet this same government is refusing to let voters and indeed other parliamentarians know about the likely impacts of climate change on that same economy? The climate crisis will be a productivity crisis. The climate crisis will have much bigger impacts than just the impacts on productivity in the economy, but the economic impacts of climate change alone give the government a compelling reason to release the climate risk assessment. And while the government knows what's in that report, and the insurance companies and the fossil fuel companies know for themselves because they've done their own analysis, Australian voters continue to live in the dark because important reports like the climate risk assessment are being held back from them. So if the government is serious about tackling the big economic challenges that Australia faces, then the government needs to inform all the participants of the productivity roundtable and indeed all voters about the likely impact of climate change, not just on agriculture and tourism, but on infrastructure, on our health sector, and on all sorts of parts of the Australian economy that we know are going to be affected by climate change. And while we don't know exactly what the future holds, we do know that the government is sitting on a report that sheds light on this, and for some reason, they're keeping it to themselves. I'll now introduce Senator David Pocock.
Not releasing the National Climate Risk Assessment before setting a 2035 target is like heading out on a road trip without having a map, without knowing what hazards are ahead. And having been briefed on the Office of National Intelligence's assessment of climate risks to national security, I can see exactly why the government doesn't want to release this. They don't want to tell the truth about the impact that climate change is going to have on our country. They need to come clean with the Australian people. They need to release this assessment so people can judge them on their 2035 target. And if they were actually in here to govern for Australians and our long-term future and well-being, if they were here to put people ahead of corporate interests, they would be setting a bold target for 2035 and then using every single opportunity internationally at COPs, at the UN, to push bigger countries to reduce their emissions, because there is so much at stake. A 2035 target is not just a number. This is about how we protect the people and places that we love.
Thanks for watching. If you'd like to keep up to date with all our latest research and work, sign up to our newsletter. Delivered every fortnight, it includes behind-the-scenes updates from Richard Dennis, an exclusive cartoon from Judy Horacek, details for our upcoming events and webinars, as well as explainers, graphs, and not to mention the latest cutting-edge research and analysis from the team here on the key issues that are facing Australia. Click the button on your screen to check it out.